Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I might be scaring you right now. I have never been without makeup on my channel, but what I want to do today is I'm going to do my makeup. It's a Friday night, and I want to talk about Justin Bieber, which is something I never thought I would say, but I want to talk about Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber's relationship while I do my makeup. So let's see how well I can multitask. Also, it looks like I have a giant forehead, which I do, but there's hair under there. To preface, please don't go bully any of these people. Not that it's gonna matter, because Justin Bieber will literally never care what any of us think of him. But just don't go harass them or leave any hate on anyone's page, because that's just stupid. I actually do like some of Justin Bieber's music. I unironically enjoy Yummy. I know, I'm ashamed. But overall, as people, I don't like either of them. I'm not even gonna lie, I don't. I'm not a fan. What talent does Hailey have, besides being rich? Plus, this is just my opinion, and I can say whatever I want on my channel, and no one can do anything about it, so. Tough. And I know people are gonna comment oh, you're harassing other people, this is bullying, get a life. You're absolutely right, I don't have a life, and I'm spending that free time judging other people's relationships. But you know what? I think I have free reign to judge something that I think is harmful and is directed at young children. So, suck it, I guess. Okay, so, as primed. The beginning of Hailey and Justin Bieber's relationship. They met in 2009. Hailey was a fan, and her dad is obviously famous and rich. So, they met at a concert, and I think this really set the tone for their relationship, because there's a very distinct power dynamic between a fan and a creator, which you can see on places like YouTube, but especially between a very young pop star and a young female fan. She was 12 at the time. So I think this is something that's really worth noting, especially as we get into the rest of their relationship. They meet again in 2011, just as Justin Bieber is beginning his relationship with Selena Gomez. At this time, Hailey tweets out something like, Justin, Selena is a teenage dream. She's a fan of that, which is kind of ironic considering the future. In this picture of them, I'll admit, Hailey does look really pretty. Her dad looks crazy, though. And then, soon, they start hanging in the same circles. Around 2014, Hailey becomes friends with Kendall Jenner, so they start to mingle a little bit more than they would have. My brother is screaming in the background. So, they're spotted together in New York City in 2014, and that's when Hailey starts saying, oh, we're friends, there's nothing going on between us. I just want to note, by the way, how young Hailey was when paparazzi were asking her about her relationship with another young adult. Why is media so invested in the relationships of young teens, young adults? It's kind of creepy. Well, I mean, are we surprised? December 2014, they're hanging out again, they're denying stuff, she's seen leaving his house in the morning, blah 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 blah. In 2015, Justin posts a video where they're together on New Year's Day, and Hailey says they're not dating, but she wants to be a good friend to him. But they do get matching tattoos at this time, which sends a little bit of a mixed signal, but whatever. She posts a picture, wearing his sweatpants. Obviously, people are going crazy about it. 2016, New Year's Eve, same thing again, except they're in, another, beautiful exotic locale for New Year's Eve. It's so celebrity. So finally, in January, they confirm that they're dating, but they call it low-key. It's not exclusive. Justin, around this time, says something really interesting that I think is crucial to defining the rest of their relationship. He says, he told GQ that Baldwin is someone he really loves, but he's too busy for a relationship. He was about to go on tour. He said, I already have a lot that I have to commit to, a lot of responsibilities. I don't want to feel like the girl I love is an added responsibility, and he doesn't want to be held down. This, I feel it fits perfectly into this fan-star dynamic that they already had going. Justin was about to be on tour. He has, millions of fans, millions of young female fans. It's inferred that he's going to be, flirting and hanging out, and he's kind of, leaving Hailey behind in a sense. He has her, on the back burner, but says they're in a relationship, but not exclusive, so he can go on tour and do whatever he wants. I mean, if that works for you, that's fine, but with the rest of the stuff I'm going to tell you about, it gets a little sus. 6 months later, they break up. Justin Bieber starts dating Sophia Richie, and then he like has a thing with Selena Gomez until like 2018, until they finally break it off. June 2018, Hailey and Justin get back together. And this is where the second leg of their relationship begins. So everything before this has been like the prelude.
Damn, could you be going any slower?
But this information is important to keep in mind for everything else. They get engaged. Keep in mind, they get back together in like May or June, and then they immediately get engaged in July of 2018 in the Bahamas, which is just, again, so celebrity. Justin said he was committed to loving her patiently and kindly in an Instagram post. And he goes, he wants to lead their family with honor. From my perspective, that sounds kind of patriarchal, but I can't judge their relationship that intensely because I don't have a window inside of it. Maybe they've agreed that it's going to be like kind of led by Justin, but I don't know, it just gives me weird vibes. If my partner was like, I'm gonna lead our family with honor, I'd be like, then why am I here? He also quotes something that says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord." If you have watched literally any of my videos beforehand, you would know that I don't like things that have patriarchal connotations. And I don't know, just the idea of like finding a wife and only referring to your partner as a wife really just indicates that she exists to serve you, and that's not my vibe. But again, if they've like come to an agreement about the dynamic of their relationship and it's that, then fine. I'm just making observation. A source says that he is so crazy about Hailey because she was always so supportive and understanding. Are we seeing the dynamic here? Hailey is there to prop Justin up. She has nothing to stand on her own. They met when she was 12 and he was a teenage superstar. I think she has a lot of admiration for him that he doesn't reciprocate, you know? I think that I'm gonna say it right now, I think she loves him more than he loves her, and I think that's what makes their dynamic so troubling. Continuing on, my brows are done, I'm gonna fan them for a second. They're only engaged for 3 months. By the way, the average engagement is around 13 months, but this is a celebrity engagement, so are we surprised? They get married in a courthouse ceremony in September of 2018. Reportedly, it was Hailey's idea. Again, I think she wants him more than he wants her. So in November 2018, Hailey makes it Instagram official and she changes her Instagram handle to Hailey Bieber. In February of 2019, they are on the cover of Vogue talking about their relationship. There wasn't anything super interesting there, at least not to my knowledge. March 2019, actually in that Vogue article, they said that they had gone to therapy, which I want to impress is not an indication of a bad or failing relationship. I think that's probably something that every couple has to do at some point. So let's not say that that is an indication of dysfunctionality, but a lot of the things I'm going to say soon, I think are. March 2019, a magazine publishes an article. Let's be clear, I don't trust magazines like People or Us or whatever. I think it was Us. Us publishes a magazine article that says that they're having trust issues in their relationship. Hailey makes a statement she posts on her Instagram story, basically telling us not to believe things we see on the internet. That's fine. Again, I'm not going to cite a People magazine in my internal assessment. It's just not a very reliable source. But then Justin Bieber says he's been facing issues. Already we're kind of seeing a disconnect between the two people. Of course you're gonna have disagreements in a marriage, but ideally you're like a united front, you know? Like you commit to this relationship forever, so you gotta like be a little bit on the same page, especially about like where your relationship is headed and what it's like right now. If two married people have a very different idea of where their relationship is at, it's not really a very good sign. Also, in the same Instagram post, Justin says, "My swag is undeniable." I just thought that was funny. I wanted to share that with you. In 2019, they do a cringy, like, fake April Fool's prank, April of 2019. I don't really care about that. They have some drama, like when Lose You to Love Me by Selena Gomez drops, and Hailey reportedly is not happy about it. Which, I mean, why would you be? It's your husband's ex-girlfriend releasing a song about your relationship that gets mass media coverage. I would not be happy either. A jailey hate account, which is their ship name, Justin and Hailey, comments something about like, why are you with Hailey? Like, she's racist. We'll get to that later. Justin basically defends her, saying that like, she's his wife or his bride. but doesn't like address the racism stuff, which I thought was funny. In 2020, Justin Bieber announces that he has Lyme disease, which is sad. I'm not gonna like rag on him for having a disease. My condolences, I hope he's healthy. February 2020, he drops his album about HAILEY. We know that whole story. At this point, HAILEY does an interview and she says that she thinks their split in 2016 when they were younger was good for them because she got to like experience new stuff and wasn't as hung up on him because she had met other people. I think this is a pretty clear indicator that HAILEY was kind of tunnel vision when it came to Justin. Like, she had very little experience, and I think that their relationship was a lot of like him maybe taking advantage of her because of that. Like, she didn't know how to be treated in a relationship, so he got to do whatever he wanted basically. But again, just my opinion, just speculation. Alright, now we get into some of the recent things I have seen that kind of scream red flag. In February 2020, HAILEY posts a story of her and Justin at the arcade, or at an arcade, and she shows his score, and then she shows his, and she's like, look at my score, and then look at his. And Justin screams, "Baby, I wasn't even trying," or something along those lines. And his tone of voice, I am telling you, that was not playing. He was screaming. We all know that Justin has a reputation for being very childish, so this doesn't really, well, it does surprise me actually, because that is his wife who he claims to like love so much. So I'm just gonna tell you everything and then I'll tell you my conclusions. So there were a lot of people in the comments of that clip that I watched trying to excuse it, saying like it was just play fighting, like he didn't really mean it, but the vibe I got from that was like trying to dismiss abuse in a relationship and trying to discredit women when they say they're being abused. Not all abuse is physical. It can be verbal abuse, like screaming and like verbally attacking someone. It's not all like getting punched, you know? The people who are trying to play it off as like, like he was just playing, that feels wrong to me. Like, I feel like we should be lending more weight to the fact that this man was screaming at his wife and she thought it was normal enough for her to post to her Instagram story. She didn't stop and think, oh, maybe this is weird. Maybe this will like raise questions. She just posted it anyway. Justin Bieber posts, or no, it was on a live stream. He turns the camera over to HAILEY while they're in the car and he goes, "If you weren't so hot, I would have gotten rid of you a long time ago." First of all, that's not funny. I don't know anyone who would be fine with that if their significant other said that to them. Again, people were excusing it as a joke. I don't think that's a joke. But the fact that he sexualizes her so much in the lyrics of his songs and more, I'll talk about the other instances of
him sexualizing her.
It feels gross. It feels like he's fixated on her beauty and that's the only thing about her that he like gives a shit about. They're doing Instagram live together, there's a couple. Someone asked him how he feels about his Lyme disease diagnosis. And HAILEY starts talking about them going to see doctors and stuff, you know, stuff that you would do if your spouse had an illness. And after ooh, shoot, that is way too much. After letting her talk for a while about them seeing doctors and stuff, Justin kind of interjects and he goes, "They're asking about my Lyme disease, it's not your Lyme disease." And I'm sorry, that is just so childish. If you don't want someone to talk about it and you want to address it yourself, say that. Don't let them talk about it and then be like, it's not your problem, it's my problem. He's very childish, and I don't think that that dynamic is healthy in an adult relationship. And then he goes, "Listen to me, woman," which, again, not funny at all. It looks so awkward, the way they interact, and the fact that the, like, laughter after he did it between them is so awkward and like uncomfortable and forced. Is like, it's not a good sign, man. HAILEY's doing a live stream by herself and she's talking to people and he comes up behind her and like points to her top and goes, "They can't tell that this is see-through." That's not appropriate to say about your wife on a live stream. She immediately covers her chest after he says that. She's obviously uncomfortable. She didn't want that to be said in front of her audience, but he said it anyway. She laughs. She's kind of like, "They can't see it." And she's obviously kind of uncomfortable with the situation, at least from my perspective. So I thought that was really gross. Just bleh. So he calls her a naughty girl, which is weird to say to your wife on like a live stream. Like, please don't. I don't want to hear that. Also, I'd like to add that their audience is mostly young women. And to give this example to young women of how to treat your wife is gross, because then they might get treated like that and they'll think it's okay because Justin Bieber did it to HAILEY Bieber. That's the only reason I'm talking about this. I think they're setting a really bad example for their fan base, and I think it's something that we should be talking about instead of saying, "Oh, they're so cute." Because they do act really romantic on social media, which is funny. Oh, also, he mocks her voice, which is she's clearly not happy about because she makes this face for like 3 seconds. She's talking about marrying him and she goes, I had to like call my parents and be like, you guys have to stop me from doing something crazy. If you're that uncertain that marrying your spouse is the right choice, I feel like there's some more thinking you have to do before you go into that marriage. Just me though. Okay, and then the infamous video where he shuts the door on her while they're getting out of the car. This is where I want to say that these things may seem trivial, all separated, but I think when they're put into context and compared to, hang on, I'm gonna do my eyeliner. Oh my god, I just realized how much darker the eyeshadow is over there than it is over there. Oh, that's amazing. Let me try to add a little bit more real quick. Anyway, yeah, these situations don't look like much when they're considered out of context and isolated. Like, of course you're gonna accidentally like close the door on your spouse sometimes. That's inevitable when you're near people in general. But when you consider it in relation to all the other things that he's done and said about her or done to her, doesn't look good. Anyway, they're on another live stream and they're about to go to bed and she's like, alright, it's time to go to bed.
I lost a ton of footage here, whoops. Basically Justin pressures HAILEY into sex in front of their live stream audience and she deflects, saying there's kids watching. Also, he goes on the Ellen show and says he wasn't sure about committing to marrying her. Again, see the pattern.
Hey guys, this positioning is kind of awkward, but I had a couple things I wanted to point out. First of all, people have been commenting underneath clips like this of like Justin Bieber being dismissive to HAILEY, saying like, oh my god, HAILEY's such an angel. Let me remind you that HAILEY was saying the N-word on social media as recent as 2016, 5 years ago. Let's not dismiss that. Let's not deify her for putting up with Justin's nonsense because she does. She's a wealthy, white, cishet woman. She will be fine. Also, to people who are just saying, like, Justin's just growing up. I am younger than Justin. I'm 17, and I don't treat my partner like that. Also, Justin has millions of dollars. He has plenty of ways that he could get to therapy and get help for his problems, but he doesn't. So, I don't pity him. And I don't pity her. I think Justin Bieber has some really unavoidable patterns, and I think he's subjecting HAILEY to a lot of his own internal issues that he needs to work out before he's in a committed relationship. So, I'm sorry if you hear my parents talking in the background. Unfortunately, I cannot tell them to be quiet the same way they can tell me to be quiet. So, just to conclude, I think this is something worth taking note of, especially since they're both public figures in the public eye. Now, of course, every relationship is going to have its issues, but I think that they're dealing with this the wrong way, and I think that it's kind of being swept under the rug, you know, treated as like isolated instances. Oh, he was having a bad day. Having like 7 really bad days where he felt he had to lash out at his wife. That's all. Thank you for watching. See you guys later. Wear your masks. Bye.